I think we all knew in the back of our minds, even though we feigned this whole line of like, there probably aren't any really bad unintended consequences. I think in the back, deep recesses of our minds, we kind of knew something bad could happen. But I think the way we defined it was not like this. It literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are. And I would encourage all of you, as the future leaders of the world, to really internalize how important this is. If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in. And it is a point in time where people need to hard break from some of these tools and the things that you rely on. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. And it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem. And I don't have a good solution. You know, my solution is I just don't use these tools anymore.
Look at the bigger picture. What are we doing here in life? What's life all about? I covered this today in the khutbah about death. Every 1 second, 4 people die. We're going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sorry, 2 people die and 4 people are born. Every second. We're moving towards the akhirah. And look at us, we're immersed in these smartphones thinking that we are productive. اقترب للناس حسابهم وهم في غفلة معرضون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that the day of reckoning is getting closer and closer, yet mankind is heedless. They are distracted. Ghafil, they are just preoccupied, phones or whatever it was at that time. Now we are 150 times more away from whatever was preoccupying people then. In the dunya for the akhirah, and we are wasting 5 or 6 hours a day thinking that we are productive, thinking that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be pleased with us. Allah swears by the time that we are wasting, wal asr. Allah swears by time. We want to kill time. You know, bro, I want to kill a bit of time. Allah is swearing by time. Innal insana lafi khusr, that mankind is lost, is in a state of perpetual loss, except for those who utilize their time efficiently and effectively. They're calling towards the truth, they're on the haqq, they bear it with patience. Allah shows us the characteristics, but look what Allah starts off by at the beginning. Innal insana lafi khusr. You are all lost, we're all lost. Every second, minute, hour that goes, we are lost unless we are being productive.
You know, like this Facebook concept, right? Amazes me, man. And our lives have become so attached to it that it brings unnecessary stress and unnecessary sadness. Why? Because you're so caught up with how other people are living their lives that the only thing you can see in your life is what's missing. And you stop seeing what you have. And really, I find it interesting, and again, forgive me, now these are just my personal, have we become so shallow that I need to let the world know where I am, what I'm eating, where I'm going, and who I'm with? And have you become so shallow that you need to follow people now? I don't understand, like people take selfies. Just had lunch. Wallahi, you know, look, it's funny, but wallahi, you don't understand the effects it has on individuals, even marriages. And I'm telling you, you know, and maybe this is a bit extreme, but I believe that people are living a lie. You know, girls who take these, even guys now, what's the pose called? You know, when you do this, what? I don't know what it's called, but anyway. So, you know, people who take selfies and then put it up on the internet, I find it amazing. If you're so sincere, why don't you take a photo as soon as you wake up in the morning? You know, while you still got those things in your eyes. No, the picture is selected. The picture is selected. And I always take a photo when I'm on a holiday or I'm having something, right? And I go to extreme efforts to show the world that I'm living the life. But in truth, you're not living the life.
1 billion of us own a smartphone, and we know how addicting it can be. One former Google employee says this is no accident. Indeed, it is by design.
Have you noticed if you ever log into Twitter, as an example? So there's an extra delay that you don't know how long it's going to take. It's between 2 and 3 seconds, where the number of new notifications on Twitter you have. So why is that there? Well, it makes that into what's called a variable schedule reward. It's like a slot machine. So you're playing the slot machine, and there's a time delay, and in that time delay, your anticipation is building, and then you get to see how many notifications I get. And so you become more addicted to checking it again the next time.
And so what's starting to happen is these kids, as they're going through adolescence, nobody has recognized that the device is actually addictive. And so what we're actually doing is creating an entire generation of mini little addicts that are getting hardwired to believe that their sense of self-worth and their sense of coping comes from the device and not from another human being. That's why they suffer real stress when they lose followers. And they get real joy when they gain followers. Like the number of responses they get or likes that they get are real, those stresses. When they suffer, when they're feeling a little bit down, we do the same thing. When you're feeling a little down, you send out 10 texts hoping to get one back. And what's happening is because the device is so, can I borrow someone's phone? Thank you. Here's what happens. The kids are walking around with them all the time. I now see girls walking around like this. Like they're not even holding them down here, it's like this. And I see boys walking around like this. This is just how they walk. It's here. It's not here. And they put it on the table in front of them. And here, let me show you what I mean. There's a subconscious effect on the people around us when we have our phones, and we're all guilty of this. What if I'm holding my phone? It's not tweeting, it's not buzzing, it's not beeping, and I'm not checking it. I'm simply holding my phone. Do you feel that you're the most important thing to me right now? No, you do not. And this is an artificial environment, simply by holding the phone. Which means when we show up to a meeting and we put our phones on the table, it says to the rest of the people in the room, you're not the most important thing to me right now. So when somebody says, can I ask you a question? And you go, what's on your mind? Because what it says is, you have my attention. Remember that those chemicals, when somebody says, when we feel that somebody actually cares about us. And if you don't have a pocket, you go to a shelf nearby, you put it down, you say, what's on your mind? When someone comes into your office, you put the phone in the desk, you turn off the monitor, you shut the laptop, you say, what's on your mind?
Digital dementia. And this is a real medical term right now. This is the idea that we're outsourcing our brains to our smart devices. We're so reliant on our smartphones that our smartphones are making us stupid. Does that make sense? It's convenient. I don't want to memorize 500 phone numbers, right? Nobody wants to do that. But we've lost the ability to memorize one. Like if I give you a 7-digit number now, how difficult? Would it be you find that kind of difficult to memorize, like a phone number that you used to do years ago? Yes or yes? Because if I take my arm and I put it into a sling for 6 months, does it stay the same? Would it even grow stronger? It would what? It would atrophy and grow weaker. Same thing with your mental muscles. If you're relying on your phone to keep your schedules, your to-dos, do simple. I went out to dinner with 10 people recently. There was 10 of us. And 3 people at the end pulled out their phones to divide the bill by 10.
Parents have to intervene. We have to stop giving our kids free access to social media and phones at young ages. They are not ready for it. Their minds cannot cope with the dopamine. Balance is fine. You can give a kid a phone, but they can't use it in their bedroom. They can't have it at the dinner table. They can't take it to school. They can only have it up to a certain hour, and you take it away. They're children. You can take the phone away. We've got to intervene as parents. But as companies, we now have to deal with the influx of kids that are coming into our companies with addiction. Watch, I see it all the time. Walk through any office. You'll see the older employees have their phones on the sides of their computers as they're working. You'll see the youngest employees have their phones face up in front of their keyboards between their arms as they're working. And this is how they work. And the science is alarming. They did experiments on mice where they did the multitasking. They put flashing lights to mimic going from the computer to the cell phone, the computer to the cell phone to the TV. The mice that were exposed to the changing lights, it took them 3 times longer to solve a maze than the mice that weren't, and the damage was permanent. It didn't improve when they stopped the lights.